Hey everybody, this is Kevin Sabrin with Rethinking Everything and the Rethinking Dad blog. And tonight I have a good friend and special guest with us, Beth Noelle. Hi Beth.
Hello, Kevin.
How are you?
I'm super good and happy to be here.
Thank you. It's a treat to have you. We just started talking about this the other night and so glad we could make it happen so quickly.
Yeah, me too.
So for those of you that haven't met Beth before, she's been to Rethinking Everything on a number of occasions, and we're happy to say she'll be back with us again this year doing primarily two sessions or session types. And the one is Movo dance, which is a newly contrived dance style that I'm going to ask you to explain in a second. And the second is authentic voice, or the path to finding your authentic voice. So maybe we can talk about those two things for a second and
Absolutely.
let the audience know what they can expect at RE 2015. So tell us about Movo dance. What is it?
So Movo dance, in simple terms, is a holistic approach to personal empowerment through movement. And I love RE, and Charles Eisenstein is going to be there, and it seems very appropriate to equate Movo dance with gathering of the tribe around the fire to dance.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very simple. I guide people through movements, and at its more deep level, Charles talks about being coming out of the old story and entering the new story, and how we're in this awkward in-between place.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't help but notice, I like to tie things together, so I couldn't help but notice in your interview with Rebecca Thompson yesterday, she was talking about how our life experiences imprint onto and into our bodies, right?
Right.
So movement, and in this case, Movo dance, lifts those imprints and creates space for the new story to emerge, for our new stories to emerge. It's where transformation happens, really. So yes, we have a great time, and it's fun, and it's good to just dance to the beat of some really good music, and at the same time, it can be very healing and very transformative as well.
So it feels to me, I've heard you talk about this before, and I'm a big fan of the idea. And our another friend, Melissa Rivera, talks about movement and energy and shaking it up and getting the juices going and that sort of thing. And when I hear it, it kind of reminds me of like dust settling on a thing. And if life and life's experiences are that dust, the dust is on the cells, and something about like shaking it up vigorously sort of creates the space you need to get the cells moving again and shake off the last experience. Is that?
It makes total sense, and I totally resonate with what you're saying there. Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. I feel like I have to shake the snow globe a little bit every once in a while. And I think
exactly. I think also it's easy to get carried away, like, oh, I have to go out and do a class to do that. I have to spend a lot of money to do that. I've got to whatever to do that. And really, anything that involves movement and you feel happy and good doing it, that does the trick.
You know, I want to question that because I've been thinking about this a little bit. So periodically I'll go play a rigorous game or 2 or 10 of racquetball, or sometimes go for a run or go exercise or whatever. And sometimes those things, racquetball aside, sometimes those things become a little methodical, right? So in other words, I'm not sure if I come out of my head enough when I'm doing that. Like, I'm still kind of thinking about the day. And I'm wondering if there's just something about, like, you know, a little bit wilder energy that just sort of like the spontaneity of it all that just makes you come out of your head a little bit.
The spontaneity of it all, yeah. And Movo dance is, somewhat structured, but there's a lot of time to just move your body the way you want to move your body, right? And there is intentionality behind it, and there is the intention of checking your thinking mechanism at the door. And Movo dance is so great for conferences, particularly because what are we doing? We're like sitting around all day thinking, like we're rethinking everything, and furrowed brows, and everybody's so intense, right?
Right.
So to get up in the morning and move, it shakes off anything that needs to leave you, and what needs to remain remains, and then you're just like an open channel to receive the next batch of information that comes in that day. So moving your body during a conference is a really wonderful thing, just to process everything that's going into you.
Well, I can tell you, we're about to announce the agenda. We're hoping to have it out tonight, and
Oh, yay!
6:45 in the morning until, question mark at the end of the day.
Wow.
Midnight-ish. There's going to be a lot of activities, so it's not. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that a person could become sedentary hour after hour of these sessions.
Yeah.
So it's really great that we're going to at least start the day with that, and then I hope for other movement pieces throughout the day also.
Fabulous.
You triggered something for me when you first introduced it. You talked about tribe and Charles Eisenstein, and you talked about guiding people in the Movo dance process, and then piggybacking what you just said a second ago about there's certain structured and then certain open spaces. How much of it is guiding somebody to a particular outcome, and how much of it is just getting them out of their shell and just getting them moving and responding to what their energy or feelings are?
I think that's a big part of it. I think we like to look to somebody who's doing something that we want to do, and use that as inspiration to do it ourselves, right? Until we can source it ourselves. And the people that I dance with consistently are, all over the spectrum on that. Some people are just totally getting their groove on. They're not looking to me a whole lot, right?
Right.
They'll take some of the inspiration that comes through me as I lead the class. Then there's other people, their eyes are glued to me, and I get to be the model.
Yeah.
So it's a spectrum, I would say. But yes, it's wonderful to be inspired. Charles Eisenstein, he's further down the road. I'm looking to that guy,
Yeah.
to make an analogy there.
Absolutely. So, what's your inspiration for Movo dance? You've obviously done movement and dance for a long time. Where did it come from? What are its origins? And
well, I was always pretty disconnected from my body, and then my oldest daughter was 3 at the time, and I took a class called Nia.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend invited me to Nia, and she said, "You got to do Nia," and I did Nia, and it changed my life. Mm-hmm. And was with that for a very, very, very long time, and was extremely healing and wonderful. And then I'm not much one to remain sedentary very long creatively.
Yep.
And what I found is that within the last couple of years, I've really gotten inspiration that felt very different than Nia, and it needed a name. And it's called Movo dance.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah.
It resonates, obviously, and I'm so happy that at this point you put your imprint on your version, and the world gets to experience the latest.
That was scary, though. That was scary to step out in that way. And all honor to Debbie Rosas and Carlos Aya Rosas, who were the co-creators of Nia, channeled Nia, and I'm definitely channeling something that feels unique to me.
Uniquely yours.
And it's been a real learning process, I tell you.
Well, if people weren't familiar with Nia, and they haven't yet experienced Movo dance, what other styles might be like that? Is it like 5 rhythms or something?
There's very definitely influenced by 5 rhythms, ecstatic dance, soul motion. Okay. Gentle stretch. You don't have to be a yoga master to come and do Movo dance. We just stretch in a way that feels comfortable. I've become all about simplifying things so that people really have an opportunity to just be with their bodies and see what's up and tune in to what comes up when they move their bodies, and then we work with that.
Right. Well, that's great.
You don't have to be a ballet dancer or have years of training in dance to do Movo dance. If you have a heartbeat,
yeah,
you can do Movo dance.
I have that, so that's good.
Guaranteed. Come on.
All right, I'll try it. How many guys are in there? Men versus women?
Not many. No? Not many.
Okay.
Nope. Not many. No, predominantly women. I would love to have some men come join us. It'd be great because it is not women specific. It's a human endeavor.
Okay, well we'll put the call out and see if we can get some guys out there to try Movo,
Good.
right?
Yay.
For the
Yay.
inaugurative event at RE.
Right on.
So, another thing that is uniquely yours as Movo Dance is the authentic voice and the path to the authentic voice. Can you tell
Yes.
me a little bit what's in your mind for that session coming up?
Yes. Well, you talk about, you ask people what are they rethinking. So definitely rethinking body, right?
Mhm.
And particularly, like in Charles, I keep bringing it back to Charles because I want to like integrate this somehow, that it's not some
Sure.
separate, non-associated thing. But Charles talks about, in his chapter, spirituality.
Mhm.
He talks about spirituality having become this thing that's outside of us,
Right.
that matter has lost its sacredness, right?
Right.
So it's a beautiful thing to recognize our bodies as sacred,
Mhm.
and that we move spirit when we move our bodies.
Mhm.
So rethinking that we're not just hunks of flesh walking around, right?
Yeah.
That's not what I feel anyway, and have come to know. So rethinking voice,
Mhm.
um, path of authentic voice. How this all started was I trained very conventionally. When I was very young, someone in authority said, "You should do this because you sound like this," and I didn't know any better, so I just did that. And then years later, discovered, wow, I didn't really want to do that, and was having vocal problems. My voice was not working. By the time I got out of college, my voice had shut down completely, wasn't singing. And Scott, partner Scott, at the time we weren't partnered, but we were colleagues, and we were at a gig and my voice fell apart, and he said, "You really should go see this guy, Tom Blaylock." And so I did. And long story short, he has this awesome technical system that put my voice back together. And I started teaching that because I was teaching voice at the time. Beyond that, here's where the rethinking comes. I would have people come to me and they'd sit in the chair and I could hammer at something technically
Yes.
till I was blue in the face and nothing would shift. And then I started discovering that every person who sat in the chair really pretty consistently had some story from when they were young of when they were shut down. Some person that they cared about that said, "Ooh, you really shouldn't sing. You know, wow, stop singing. Don't be too loud. Don't be too much," right?
Right.
And so, you know, at 50, they're coming to me to work on this. So that's where Path of Authentic Voice came from. And PATH is an acronym
Right.
for power, acceptance, truth, and heart. And what I've learned over the years is that if someone is having a feeling like they're not expressing with their voice in a powerful way that feels good and effective, right?
Mhm.
It most undoubtedly has something to do with their relationship with either power in their life, acceptance, being an accepting person versus like a controlling person,
Right.
truth.
Yeah.
Are they connected with the truth of themselves
Mhm.
and their heart? Like, has their heart broken in such a way that the voice shuts down?
Oh, wow.
So we dive deep, and it's definitely rethinking voice. And I tell you what, this new story that we're going to tell, we'd better have a voice to be able to tell it.
That's
And this is an
really neat.
excellent, excellent way to go about doing it, if I do say so myself.
I never thought about that working backwards, but if you were struggling to find your voice and use that acronym to determine maybe what the root cause was, it would be a tool to work backwards and do some discovery.
Yes.
That's interesting to me. I never thought of that. So,
Yeah.
my wife has a terrific voice and chooses to not use it a lot, but when she does, it's beautiful.
Yes.
My
I
kids and
believe.
my youngest has a really pretty voice too. She's 6. The
Uh-huh.
rest of us, we kind of fearlessly bang away at instruments, and some of us
That's awesome.
do well more than others. But I noticed that for me, it seems like there's a difference between being willing to be vulnerable with an instrument and being willing to actually use your voice and be vulnerable. And
I
maybe
agree.
that's me because I have insecurities about my own singing voice.
I agree. it's so personal. You know, I'm sitting here at the piano, right? I got my little piano here, and the piano tuner comes, and she, like, tightens a screw and gets it all in pitch for me, and I just play it. And there's some technique involved in it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The human voice is organic.
Right.
It's alive. It's changing. What is the barometric pressure? How much water have I had? What emotional state am I in? Have I been crying?
Right.
You know, have I been screaming at a roller derby? You know, I don't know, whatever it is. Point being, the voice is so dynamic, and it's a part of us.
Right.
It's our biology. It's our physiology. So yes, it's personal. It is an extension of us. And so when somebody comes at it with their opinion, like even the good ones, like even somebody who raves about somebody's voice, that's still an opinion, and it can get under our skin, and we can sometimes let that affect how we feel about our own voices.
Sure. I can understand that. Imagine if you were at a roller derby screaming and crying during low barometric pressure. It could be horrific.
Oh, yeah, man, you're done. You're done for.
Even the
Just
best.
Go to bed. Go to bed. Or, yeah, go to bed.
So
shut it down.
Where did Path come? I mean, you talked about the singing coach, but is that where Path came from? Is that where it originated, or is this something you've adapted over the years since then?
Well, I was teaching pretty conventionally until about 2003, and then certain people started showing up in my life that were calling on something that demanded much more than just sitting down and doing technical whatever,
right?
And running through songs and running through music, you know, and that's really when it has definitely been a process, and I don't know, it just came very clear. I don't know how to explain it. It just kind of downloaded,
sure.
And it was very present, and there it was, and I just dove in and started playing around with it.
Nice.
Get my fingernails dirty, you know, because it was it's powerful work to have somebody come and sit with you one-on-one and just lay it all down in front of you.
Indeed. So you channeled it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I'll let that be.
What's the ideal class size or group size for something like that?
Well, I usually work one-on-one, which has its own imprint of powerfulness. But what's really cool is when you do it with a group of people, like we're going to do it at RE.
Right.
Hopefully there'll be a nice, sizable group of people. You know, 5 to 10 people would be ideal.
Right.
Coming together, because there's something very powerful about witnessing the engagement of two people at front and center doing the work.
Yes. Well, there's something special about that. I've been in a number of small group settings, especially where I don't want to say self-help, but personal growth activities have been in play. And there's really something neat about the collaborative team supportive environment that happens there. It almost takes over. So even if it's quiet, even if that group is just watching, there's something
absolutely
about that energy, that being able to share that together, to watch, have a friend go through the transition or the transformation. That's really
that's right.
We've got a lot going on at the event ourselves, but I would really like to be a part of that. I just think that would be really neat to see.
I hope you come. It'd be great if Kelly could come too.
Yeah, I'm going to encourage it. She's got a great voice, but she doesn't use it, and I think that might be one of those acronym.
Well, I'll make a point of flagging her down and singing with her in some capacity.
Yes.
If she doesn't make it to the Path of Authentic Voice.
I'll email or text you a few of her favorite songs, and all you have to do is...
Oh, good. Okay, good. It's done.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Start going with it. Absolutely.
Good.
So, how many years have you and Scott and the girls, or some of you, been to Rethinking? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember what year I went. It was in Texas. I remember that, and we all went one year, and then Scott went, and then we didn't go, and then we went last year. So, I don't know. I'd say over a period of about 7 years.
Yeah, maybe 5 times in 7 years or something.
That sounds about right, yes.
Sounds about right. That's excellent. Well, we were really, it was great to see you at the last one, of course, and I met Scott the time before that, and at it was one of the Dallas ones. Obviously, it was the
yes
lines, and we had some moments. It was a lot of fun. So, You know, I want to ask you if you've noticed like differences from year to year, or if you've noticed themes from year to year through the conference. I'm just curious about that from people who've been to a few.
Oh, interesting.
You
I
noticed
know
trends?
actually, and maybe this is self-centered, but the biggest change that I notice is how I've changed. I
Oh,
mean, when I first went to RE in Texas, I was completely overwhelmed. I'm an introvert. I'm an introverted extrovert, so I'm much happier just being chill, with these fits and starts of creative energy and being an extroverted teacher, whatever. So that first year, I was just kind of like gritting my teeth with my eyes wide open, barely able to be in my body, right?
sure.
And then compared that with last year, like years of growth, more open, more calm, more willing to be seen, more willing to be vulnerable.
Right.
I really, really, really liked the feminine component last year. That was very grounding and powerful for me to be able to tap into that. Thinking to me and analyzing and philosophizing feels masculine to me, and I'm up in here, and it's very easy for me to lose connection with the rest of me and my femininity.
Right.
So the fact that that is a part of RE now with your lovely wife and Melissa Rivera,
Yeah.
like really grateful for it and really eager to get back and connect with that again.
Well, this year we're going to expand on that a little bit. I'm really glad you brought that up.
Right
Wasn't
on.
sure that you were going to, but um, we think that it's really, really important. And the sacred feminine, which more or less was offered last year through Melissa Vera's topics, this year we're expanding it to include the sacred masculine, and we're going to have Charles Eisenstein headed out on Saturday morning. So one of the
Yeah.
things that one of the things we hope to do is we want to connect, let's call it the old story, but the almost the anthropological look at men and fatherhood and males over time. If we were to bring that timeline to today and even project forward in the future what it could look like, what would fatherhood look like? What would masculinity look like?
Brilliant.
It doesn't have to be hunting,
No.
and some of those learned early skills, you can't, the DNA is DNA and inclination is inclination, but there's ways to harness and focus and channel that in today's world that can be very productive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like the men are in one silo and the ladies are in
Yeah.
another,
Yeah, totally. And I really want to speak to that because it's important to me and it has meaning to me that there's so much, the divine feminine and a lot of male bashing, like just really going down hard on men. And men are sacred too. As humans, we are sacred. The divine feminine is sacred. The divine masculine is sacred. And from where I sit, men have a pretty rough time of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where is vulnerability for a man? Where can a man be vulnerable? When can a man shed tears in public? And if a man gets angry, that's a bad thing. Shut that down. It's way too underappreciated, I think. And I certainly appreciate men like you who are willing to step out into that nebulous area and create something new and allow for those places of discomfort.
Well, thank you. Your partner Scott is certainly, one of the many role models I look to in terms of people, being in touch with that and willing to be vulnerable and make themselves vulnerable. Vulnerability is really, really tough, and that's one of the most confusing elements of it for the men. Is to grow up, be strong and be in control and have the answer, be the one who can fix it, or whatever we think we were supposed to be. Let's just say it kind of looked like that. So we're that person. So the opposite of that is, don't be strong, don't be weak, don't question things, don't show up without the answer, and don't be ill-equipped to fix whatever it is. So, and some of the emotions that were allowed were, anger. It's one thing to be angry. If you're okay to be angry, just don't get too angry, but don't be weak. Don't be strong. You know what I mean? Don't do that. That was shushed right away.
Right. And this thing about vulnerability, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Was there more?
Not at all.
Okay. I'm just like all over this. It's so fun. talk about the deep dive, which is where I love to go, is this thing about vulnerability and how it's become a little more present, like with Brene Brown.
Yes.
For instance, what the fear of vulnerability, I think, is directly related to fear of looking at shadow.
Mm.
The darker places, the things that we're just supposed to keep behind closed doors and definitely not have out in public.
Yeah.
And for me, if there's any chance of a new story being told, there needs to be, on an individual level, of course, first and foremost, a willingness to go to those places where we're wounded,
Right.
and get to work on healing it.
Absolutely.
And that's why I do what I do. I like to help people do that so that they're not alone in it. It's definitely we are in this together.
Absolutely. I talked to Olson Lade the other day, Daphne Edwards, and she was talking about the work and doing the work, and on some topics in particular, how much work is actually there to be done before you can uncover and get to the really good stuff,
Yes,
if you will.
Absolutely.
She's a Byron Katie person. Sorry.
Awesome. It's wonderful. Yeah, the work is great.
Yeah, so we've got some of that on the schedule, and
Yes.
Linda Ball is going to be talking about. You mentioned shadow, and she's going to be talking about what she in the past she's referred to as shadow self. Last year, Dr. Shefali was talking about it as dark side. She was kind of talking, what was her word? I'm sorry. It just escaped me. It was basically the shadow self or the dark side of the dark self. So we hear a lot about this contrast, and Linda's going to share with us some thoughts this year about happiness and the realistic sustainability of happiness.
Oh, so good.
The cultural expectation that is sort of put on us to try to focus and maintain happiness, or the importance, I should say, that's tied to happiness. When let's just say, what if the lack of happiness was merely the contrast we needed to realign with happiness?
That's right.
Almost a Buddhist perspective on, it is or it isn't. Happiness is what you feel in one moment and something else you feel the next.
And
we want to talk about that.
With Path of, Linda's awesome. I was totally signing up for that. But the Path of Authentic Voice stuff, the truth piece of it, when you go out in public, I'll make it about me. When I go out in public and I'm feeling like shit, I'll just put it out there, right? And the cashier says to me, "How are you doing?" "Fine."
Right.
It's just one little teeny tiny example of so many, how we chip away at ourselves, at our spirit and our soul, because we have these little deceptions. It's not like I got to dump all my stuff out all over the cashier at the grocery store, but you don't have to pretend to be who I'm not either in any given moment.
On that level, first, for one, I totally agree with you. And part of what's probably going on in your head is just saying, how much does this person really want to know about? You know what? I've got another car in the parking lot. I'm not doing really great at this moment, blah, blah, blah. They probably don't. But even before all that happened, her or his inclination was to ask you, how are you doing? In other words, a form of greeting you is to check in on your overall well-being. And I'm going to take this arbitrary snapshot of your life and ask you how you doing in the second, then how you doing in the next second, then how you doing.
Exactly.
Everybody's asking that all the time.
Yes.
As opposed to just saying greetings, just greetings.
Hi.
Hi.
I see you. That's it.
Welcome.
All that's necessary. It's a loaded question. How are you?
It's
that
a pleasure
is such
to be
a
with
loaded
you
question
at this moment in time, or whatever. And those would all be hopefully authentic expressions. And the other one, asking how you're doing with nowhere to go afterwards. It's like, I'm doing lousy. Oh, $17.99, please.
I know, exactly. Everything is so fast. There's no time to just be in interacting with people, which is, again, another thumbs up for RE, and come to Arkansas and do this thing and be a part of it, because the wonderful thing about RE is that it's this lovely container of safety.
Yeah.
Where you can come and let yourself unravel a bit if you need to.
Yeah.
And get to the bottom of yourself a little bit. You know, and Charles, he talks about these places as being wonderful for us, and then we get back in the ring again and show up with what we come away with after having gone through the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is great, and I'm so glad you brought up the word unravel, because for some people that's really relevant, and I should spend a minute on that.
Please.
So Rethinking Everything, now in its 19th year, has been for a long time considered a safe space to unravel for those that need it. Meaning, I want to dissect something that had been holding me back, or whether it's my voice, my willingness to let myself go and, you know, shake the funk off my cells in a dance,
Yeah.
or whether it's some intellectual other type of an endeavor where I really want to think something through. It's a space to be able to do that. And it's also a space where my kids hopefully simultaneously are enjoying themselves with events and activities. But the safety comes from having a group of like-minded around, let's call it a tribe, or as close a thing as we can relate to a tribe in today's world. So if my tribe is around me, and whether they fully agree or even partially agree, they get me enough to let me have my moment. And if the moment I need to have is sort of frenetic, exciting, happy dance, or it's tearful sobbing to get rid of some weight, so be it. It's a safe space to be able to do that. So one thing that's new about RE is, for one, we're exclusive in the venue this year, and for years and years that wasn't the case.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we co-mingle with other audiences, as you know, from the Dallas days. So we made an intentional decision a year and a half ago to go to Little Rock and use the 4-H Center, which is, as you know, but now that you've been there, 1,200 acres and, you know, room for 500 or so people, and it's all unschoolers except for a limited staff that's on property. It's all of us. So you're with your own, and that's going to be really cool. And we're out away from a lot of other hullabaloo, so we can kind of focus on the work that needs to be done and celebrate with one another.
Absolutely.
So we're really excited about that. For those that haven't been to RE, it's important to note that we have the venue to ourselves, and it's a tribe of like-minded. So the space is there to unravel. Now, some people come back year after year that have done their unraveling and heavy lifting, and they just simply want to celebrate, or they want to give back. They want to contribute because they've gone through this path. And other people like myself, we want to go there and we're still doing some lifting. You know, we still have things we want to uncover.
Absolutely.
So that's why we participate in Authentic Voice and a bunch of other things like that. So I just wanted to get that out there because I know I don't talk about that very much, but I think that's really important in an environment.
It is. Absolutely it is. It's good that you talked about it.
Yeah. So we're always thinking about things that bring us together and things that remind groups how close we are. Last year we incorporated some ceremonies and we incorporated a couple of rituals, and we're looking to do more of that this year.
Good.
One thing that would stem from that was we've created more community gathering time.
Tell me more.
Well, in years past, we had a lot going on, and we don't want to take any content away from our attendees, but we also feel like it's pretty important to actually be in the same room with other people at times, not just, 5 or 6 rooms wide with speakers and content in all those rooms. So we've focused our, it looks a little bit more like an hourglass this year. We start out as a group and, we kind of go, and then we go to, into a group, and we go to our own thing again. And for example, when Charles Eisenstein starts us out on Friday morning, he's going to do the opening session on the More Beautiful World Your Heart Knows Possible, his current. And then he'll talk for about an hour, and then we're going to take the topics that he brings up, and we're going to immediately spread out, and we're going to go into open space dialogue on those topics. So he starts us, and he gives us, fodder to dialogue about, and then we break up into sessions. And there's a method to the madness. We'll talk about, you can sit at a table that's uniquely interesting to what you want to take away. And then we'll reconvene for, I think, several other times. Melissa Rivera with Sacred Feminine and so forth. We're going to do the same thing over and over again.
Oh, good.
There's a chance to hear from a speaker. There's a chance to be inspired in that way. And then there's a chance to break away with our peer group or other speakers or whatever and dialogue on those topics.
Oh, that's ideal. Great.
Hopefully it works out the way we see it in our mind. It'll be the best of both worlds. Exactly. No doubt. So
way to play in the sandbox, Kevin.
yeah,
That's great.
we're
That's
definitely.
great.
Thanks. Yeah, we're playing a lot. Kelly has come up with a ton of great ideas. I'm usually a little bit more out front. She's a little more behind the scenes. But Kelly's had a number of terrific ideas, including we didn't even know it was called open space, but she thought up open space. She
Yeah.
almost literally said, why don't we take everybody's ideas and write them down and put them on a bulletin board and then arrange them in such a way where we group all the little Post-it notes together so that all the people that want one topic go to the person with their hand up and we put them over there in that corner.
Excellent.
And we're talking to Marie Goodwin, coordinating Charles's sessions, and Marie is also speaking with us this year. And
Good.
yeah, that's called open space. It's been around for like 15 years.
What? Oh my gosh.
Excellent.
Okay.
We have a name for it.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I'm excited to see Kelly.
Yeah.
And you guys and everybody.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're looking forward to having you guys back. Is there something particular that you're hoping to take away this year or that you want to really dig into?
I just want to open my heart bigger and be more connectable. Let myself be more knowable. I want to be more knowable. Yep. I want to show up. There are times last year where, I'll be in a group situation and I get overwhelmed and I have to go back to the room and kind of gather myself again and bring some level of comfort and calming, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to do that while I'm in the midst of it.
Sure.
So that it's less segregated. I can take care of myself and I can keep my heart open. Yeah.
You might remember Maggie Batt. She was with us last year, and Maggie was one of the coordinators of the Healing Arts Sanctuary, where we had some healing arts professionals spending time working with folks. This year, we've decided to move that space, and Maggie's going to be coordinating. I think we're still calling it Sanctuary, but it's more of a recreation spot. It's more of a relaxing room. The room will also double at times. It'll be transitional. We're going to turn it into the red tent room tonight,
cool.
For the sacred or for the goddess night, for the red tent activities. But during the day, you can sort of drop out of the high energy hallway, drop into a calming, peaceful place. We'll have some music, maybe some soft light. There may be massage or something happening in there, but for those who need a little respite from the high energy, that place will be there. So
wonderful.
Looking forward to that too. I don't think we'll have Movo dance there, but
probably not. No. We're way too rambunctious in Movo dance to be in the sanctuary.
We have you. I think we have you penciled in for Cabe Hall for anybody that peaked at Hall last year. The air conditioning.
No, I couldn't be there last year, right?
Right. They unfortunately right before the event, it was so hot they lost their air conditioner. And we couldn't have you at 94 degrees in that building. So this year it's all tuned up and ready to go. So we've got something like, I want to say it's like 2,000 or 3,000 square foot carpeted room.
Yes, we are going to move.
Yeah,
yes.
Lots of room to move. So all the guys can come out and join the ladies, right?
That's right. You better believe it. Yay. Good.
We're really looking forward to seeing you. And
likewise, Kevin.
A year has already gone by. So
I can't either.
We've got a lot of catching up to do that we can do offline. So
indeed.
Love to you guys. And
same to you guys. Give our love to your lovely family and Kelly, and we'll be seeing you in about a month. Yeah.
So folks, in case you haven't seen the dates yet, September 4th through 7th in Little Rock, Arkansas at the 4-H Center. It's called the C.A. Vines 4-H Center in Little Rock, about 15 or 20 miles north and west of Little Rock Airport. So come on out and see us September 4th through 7th for the 19th Rethinking Everything Conference. Take care and be well.